Narrator, VO. Right now, at the edge of the Dubai Marina, a 641-foot ultra-luxury hyper tower is sinking into the desert sand, not because it was built poorly, not because it was neglected, but because the reclaimed land beneath it is shifting, expanding, and dissolving under the pressure of the Persian Gulf. And the developers who sold $804 million worth of elite condos inside it may have known the ground was moving before the very last billionaire signed the contract. 3 inches. That is how far the elite Porsche design tower has dropped since 2016. A vertical fortress worth more per square foot than almost any residential tower in the Middle East, sliding downward at a rate its own master engineers did not predict. And the terrifying cost of that silence is only now being exposed. Drone wine. Dramatic cable news boom. It began with an audacious bet on the Dubai skyline. A prominent local tycoon paid $36 million for a prime razor-thin strip of land between the marina and the open sea. The vision was massive. A 60-story marvel featuring the world's first internal supercar elevator, the Hypervator, now allowing multimillionaires to ride to the top floor without ever leaving their Ferraris. They licensed the prestigious German Porsche design name, pre-selling all 132 units. Apartments started at $6.5 million, with the 4-story penthouse drawing a staggering $32.5 million. Buyers believed every single line on the glossy brochure. But here's what nobody told them. Before the first resident parked their Lamborghini in a 50th floor sky garage, satellite radar systems were already picking up a fatal anomaly. The artificial ground wasn't holding. The intense Arabian heat was causing thermal expansion, and the saline groundwater was eating at the foundation. Worse, this isn't an isolated anomaly. It is an industry-wide crisis hidden behind gold plating and glass. If you think your investment is safe, look at the data.sfx, urgent radar ping. Narrator, VO. The timeline of this structural crisis is a masterclass in corporate silence. By 2016, construction on the elite Porsche design tower was technically complete. The keys were being handed over, and the resale market was exploding. Wealthy expats from Europe, Russia, and Asia were bidding up prices, flipping units for $12 million and $15 million. But high above the atmosphere, a German TerraSAR X satellite, equipped with radar capable of detecting ground shifts down to a single millimeter, was already logging a terrifying downward trend. The building was sinking, and it wasn't sinking evenly. FX. Low metallic growing. Engine wine engineers call this specific hazard differential settlement. When a 641-foot tower sits on an unstable mix of desert sand and reclaimed coastal earth, it doesn't drop like a straight elevator. One side sinks faster than the other. The building tilts. It torques. That uneven descent generates massive, invisible internal stresses. Every concrete slab twists. Every massive glass pane undergoes intense fatigue. High-pressure utility lines running through the core are pulled to their absolute breaking points. Why did this happen? Because back in the design phase, the development team faced a critical choice. They could have paused to conduct exhaustive, highly expensive geotechnical deep borings into the specific marine strata of this exact marina plot. Or they could rely on standard pile foundation models, assuming the coastal ground would behave like the rest of the district. To protect the aggressive schedule and the $560 million budget, they chose the standard route. On paper, the mathematical models checked out. The permits flew through the regulatory offices, but standard engineering models assume uniform ground. They don't account for the daily, brutal reality of the Dubai coast. Massive tidal water rushing through porous rock, the intense vibrations of heavy machinery from neighboring construction sites, and the relentless thermal expansion of concrete baking under a 48°C Arabian sun. By 2023, independent geophysicists completed a grueling 7-year satellite monitoring study of the district. The data was a bombshell. They discovered that nearly 70% of the high rises in this coastal sector were actively moving. The elite Porsche design tower registered one of the highest rates of subsidence in the entire zone. The scientists dropped a line in their report that should have frozen every real estate transaction in the city. There are no indications that this subsidence will come to a stop. Yet, down on the ground, the marketing machines never paused. No independent structural audit obstained public. No warnings were sent to the residents. The glossy brochures remained exactly the same, even as the ground beneath the tower continued to slide. SFX, Urgent Cable News Ticker. Narrator, VO. To truly understand the danger hiding behind Dubai's shimmering glass facades, you have to look at the terrifying parallels across the global real estate market. When structural integrity fails, it happens with blinding speed. We have seen what happens when engineering margins are pushed to the absolute brink. But while global disasters trigger immediate, sweeping regulatory overhauls, the response along this exclusive stretch of the Gulf coastline has created a dangerous regulatory illusion. SFX, screen glitch, dramatic drone bomb. In the wake of international high-rise failures, authorities rushed to implement strict safety codes. New compliance laws were passed, mandating rigorous structural audits and safety nets for aging buildings. It was supposed to protect the public. Instead, it revealed a much worse problem, a massive systemic regulatory gap. These mandatory inspection laws are almost exclusively triggered by age. They target older concrete structures, usually those reaching the 25 or 30-year mark. But look at the elite Porsche design tower. It is under 10 years old. It doesn't even come close to triggering the mandatory inspection threshold. The dozens of moving buildings identified in the recent satellite subsidence data, most of them sleek, modern, and built within the last decade, exist in a legal blind spot that standard safety laws cannot reach. The scientific data is explicit. While these modern megastructures are mathematically designed to tolerate a uniform settlement of the entire foundation, they are completely vulnerable to differential settlement. The uneven torque induces localized internal stresses that can cause hidden, compounding structural fatigue long before a crack ever appears on a finished wall. Yet, there is absolutely no legal statute requiring a developer or a luxury broker to disclose satellite-measured subsidence data to an unsuspecting buyer closing on a multi-million-dollar unit. The system protects the transaction, not the investor. The marketing remains flawless, while the physical reality of the ground is completely ignored. If you want to track how this data is shaking up the international property markets and what it means for the future of luxury real estate, hit that subscribe button right now. Do not miss our next update, because right now, as you watch this video, the exact same cycle is repeating itself. SFX, heavy industrial crane clanking rumble. VO. Behind the tinted glass and the automated security gates, the human cost of this silence is quietly boiling over. The people living inside these shifting towers didn't find out from a legal disclosure or an official building memo. They found out from leaked scientific papers and independent news reports. SFX, low-tense synthpad. Take the story of one British tech investor who purchased a resale penthouse in the Marina district. Speaking on the condition of strict anonymity to protect his asset value, he describes the exact moment the illusion shattered. British expat voiceover. Dramatic reenactment. We paid over $9 million for the view, for the prestige, for the security. Then a colleague forwards me an engineering study based on European radar data. I'm looking at a heat map, and my own building is glowing bright red. It's moving. I called the property management office, and they completely stonewalled me. They said everything was within normal parameters. But you look around. You notice the slight sticking in the balcony doors. You see the hairline fractures in the underground parking garage, where the seawater is weeping through the concrete. It's terrifying. It's not just the money. It's the realization that your family is sleeping inside an active engineering experiment. Narrator, VO. The financial exposure is catastrophic. For luxury buyers, a property isn't just a home, it's a liquid asset. But how do you exit a multi-million-dollar position when the very ground beneath the building is labeled unstable by satellite telemetry? In Dubai's hyper-competitive secondary market, reputation is everything. The moment a whisper of structural movement attaches to a tower, the secondary buyers vanish, yet the primary market rolls on completely unfazed. Buyers looking at shiny new off-plan developments are being handed the exact same marketing pitch that was used a decade ago. FX, metallic chime, transition pop. Look at the glass fatigue alone. High-rise windows aren't just there for the view. They are structural components engineered to flex under wind loads. But when a building experiences differential settlement, the window frames distort. The glass undergoes intense, localized pressure. In the extreme Arabian heat, where external glass surfaces can rocket past 60 degrees Celsius, that added mechanical stress creates a ticking time bomb. Tunnel utility lines face the same silent warfare. High-pressure water mains, sewage lines, and electrical conduits running through the building's core are engineered for vertical alignment. When the core twists, even by a fraction of an inch, the joint experiences immense strain. The leaks don't start in the apartments. They start deep within the mechanical floors, hidden behind drywall and service hatches, slowly eating away at the structure from the inside out. The question isn't whether the engineers can patch the leaks or reinforce the columns. The question is, why are the people paying the bills the last ones to know? SFX heavy electronic bass drop. Narrator, VO. The ultimate warning sign isn't what has already been built, it's what is coming next. The tycoon behind the sinking tower isn't stepping back. Instead, he has announced an even more massive branded mega project right on the same coast. The ultra-exclusive Bentley Residences. Slated for completion in 2026, this 63-story behemoth will feature 4 hypervators. Standard units start at $5 million, and the crown jewel penthouse is listed at a staggering $57 million. It will sit on the exact same sand, above the exact same porous marine strata, directly next to the 35 towers already documented as sliding downward. SFX. Drone deep rumble. Every new mega tower breaking ground along this coastline is a multi-million-dollar gamble that the laws of physics will somehow bend for marketing brochures. The elite Porsche design tower is no longer just a luxury address. It is a terrifying case study in how systemic structural risk is quietly transferred from billionaire developers to unsuspecting buyers. Right now, at the edge of the Dubai Marina, a 641-foot icon of engineering excellence sits exactly 3 inches lower than the day its foundation was poured. The hypervator is still running. The supercars are still rising to the clouds, but the silent movement of the earth beneath it has never been publicly addressed. No independent engineering firm has published a structural recovery plan, and no developer has been forced to tell a buyer the truth. When the desert sand shifts, the glass is strained to its limits, and the regulatory net fails to catch the danger. Who is left to protect the people living inside the sky? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Is this the future of luxury or a disaster waiting to happen? Cable News, fade. To black.